Hello everyone and welcome back to JAS Reviews. My name is James and on this channel I do reviews of both music and movies along with the occasional commentary piece, so if any of that sounds interesting to you then please leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel to see more content like that. And today I'm going to be doing another individual album review. This time for the band Nothing But Thieves with their newest album, Dead Club City. Now this is sort of weird to think about, but the last time I talked about Nothing But Thieves was in 2020 when their album Moral Panic came out, which was 3 years ago now. Sort of crazy to think about in that way, but that video did surprisingly well, especially for my channel. It is one of my most viewed videos on the channel, so for that reason, plus the fact that I think Nothing But Thieves is one of my favorite rock bands of all time at this point, and definitely one of my favorite mainstream ones working right now, I knew I had to do a review of this new album. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Dead Club City, this new album from them. Now, like I said, yes, it has been 3 years since Moral Panic, which was an album that I really enjoyed, and if anything has only grown on me over time. While I will still defend Broken Machine as their best album that they've made, I think that Moral Panic is a really great album in its own right. It really saw Nothing But Thieves pushing their rock sound into some interesting electronic territory as well. I was very hopeful for what this new album was going to be doing, and the two lead singles definitely increased my hopes even more. The title track, Welcome to the DCC, was just so much fun and just such a bright energy. It was definitely a huge change of pace for the band as they were embracing full-on 80s pop sound in this. And while I do think that that sound has been maybe a little bit overdone in recent memory as 80s nostalgia has risen big time, I do think that Nothing But Thieves puts such a fun spin on it in this title track that it becomes an undeniably great time. I may have liked Overcome even better. I will admit that this one is maybe a little bit closer to what you associate classic Nothing But Thieves with, and that is the case for the whole album, is that Overcome is the most Nothing But Thieves sounding track from at least their first two albums. But the way they incorporate synths on the song and keyboard flourishes is great, and I just love the endearing optimism that the song has, and for that reason, I was left feeling very excited for this new album and what it had to offer. Plus, with the fact that the band were building it up as a concept album, Dead Club City was a world in this album, and I was very intrigued going into it to see what that world would be like. Now, this album is surely a concept album, but I would actually debate it's a bit of a looser concept album than others that I've heard, but that is not something I'm necessarily going to complain about here. In fact, I sort of like when in a concept album, the songs not only work within context of the story that they're trying to tell, but also can work as their own individual entities, and you don't necessarily have to connect them together to get the full understanding of the story. Instead, a lot of these songs take place from different people within Dead Club City's perspective. So we hear from many different people in this story, and a lot of times it is also revealing a lot of personal beliefs about the band too. The title track establishes Dead Club City as a place where there's all the heaven all the time. And so of course, the band is in the story building up DCC as this place that is an very idealistic utopia where your dreams can be accomplished and everything like that. And of course, this is sort of turning out to be a commentary on the world we're living in right now, where all these places build up that they are a place where your dreams can come true and where you can essentially become whoever you want to be. But as the album progresses, of course, we start to see that those dreams sort of start to fall apart at the seams, and there's a lot of flaws within the city that claims to be such a perfect place. Tomorrow is Closed is a super intriguing single as well. I did only listen to the title track and Overcome before going into this album, but I think in general the majority of the singles here are pretty strong, and Tomorrow is Closed is another case of that. I love the sort of attempts at grasping onto a love that may be letting go is expressed in this song. There's a certain sense of desperation to hold on to any sense of optimism in the song that was talked about in Overcome. So whereas Overcome was a very optimistic song in nature, this one seems to be struggling to hold on to that. So it's a pretty interesting progression with lyrics like tomorrow is closed, there's no future at all, we've burned it to the ground, I've lost my place, we all have, but I hope someday we're going to get it back. So not only is this a relationship song, but it's also a song about trying to hold on to any sense of happiness that there is in the world. And there's this real existential desperation to the song that I really respect and I think works super well for what the song is expressing and makes it another very big highlight. Keeping You Around has a sort of interesting rap cadence to it. I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's probably the most influenced by trap that Nothing Thieves has ever been. I'm not sure if it entirely works in context of the song, as Connor's vocals don't feel as enthusiastic on this track, and it doesn't necessarily keep the energy up, and especially in relation to the first 3 tracks. But I sort of respect what Nothing But Thieves was trying to do here. And it really does show on this album that they're willing to push their boundaries forward even more than they already have. After City Haunts, which I will be talking about later, we get 3 songs in a row that I all think are just great for one reason or another, and are probably songs that would rank among the best of Nothing But Thieves' discography. Do You Love Me Yet is easily my favorite song on the album. This one, besides having a decidedly Nothing But Thieves title, I mean, it's sort of undeniable. It just feels like a title that is distinctly reminiscent of this band's identity. It also has some really cool influences in it, ranging from Electric Light Orchestra to even Dua Lipa, especially in terms of the orchestration. Just sounds like something you could distinctly hear if Future Nostalgia had a more rock vibe to it, which I really like and really respect. Now, this song works for a variety of reasons. I think the biggest reason, though, is that, well, within context of the album, it is talking about a band in Dead Club City. It is very clear that this band is a loose representation of Nothing But Thieves themselves. And it is sort of their commentary on their insecurities about their presence in the music world, and the fact that they are aware that because they change their sound, they might lose the loyalty of their fan base. Or if they say one thing wrong, they might lose the love of the people who have followed them for so long permanently. And it's a very real insecurity of a lot of musicians. So I think Connor's touching on something pretty universal here, and I think it works because you feel that insecurity in the way he's singing, especially in the chorus with the intense guitar riffs. But in addition to that, this song is just a lot of fun, with a bridge that is just one of the most euphoric moments I've heard on a Nothing But Thieves album. And after this, we continue to get great songs. Members Only, while short, has a real nice groove to it and feels sort of eerie and mysterious at the same time. And it's interesting to delve into what this song might be talking about. And then there's Green Eyes Sienna, which is just a seminal Nothing But Thieves love ballad in my opinion. This one, while maybe not having the same heights as Particles or Free If We Want It in terms of ballads, is one that still works. It is much more restrained than either of those 2 other songs, but it still feels hauntingly beautiful, and I just love how lush it feels, and it really just draws you into the atmosphere. And then we end off the album with Pop the Balloon, which is, I mean, wow, what a song. This might be one of Nothing But Thieves' most intense songs, if not their most intense song to date, especially in the chorus. The guitar riffs are massive and really bring to mind Queens of the Stone Age in a way. We saw that influence a couple times on Moral Panic, so I'm very pleased to see them bringing back those influences on this album and perhaps even making them bigger. And this album brings together all the disillusionments and frustrations that this album has been building up to, with relationship doubts, doubts about their permanency in the music world, and frustrations about just the state of the world in general. And it brings it all together to say that maybe we need to kill Dead Club City, or kill the idea that Dead Club City is a place where it's all the heaven all the time, and we need to acknowledge the flaws and actually fix them. It's a really smart way to end the album, and I think a very memorable one, as this is probably the most out there, riskiest song that the band has ever done, and I really respect them for it. Now, there are a couple of flaws to this album, and I will admit I don't like this one quite as much as Moral Panic. I don't think it flows quite as well as that album, and there are a couple of missteps here that I wish I liked a little more than I did. For example, City Haunts, I respect this one for Connor trying to go for his falsetto more for these really high highs. It sounds like he's trying to channel the Bee Gees on this song, if I'm being honest. I see those influences everywhere on this song. But at the end of the day, it comes across, sadly, a little more annoying than I would like. His falsetto gets a little grating at times, especially in the verses. And I do think the chorus can get a little annoying after you've heard it over and over. This one is definitely one where I appreciate what they were trying to do, but I don't think they necessarily pull it off. Foreign Language coming after Green Eyes Sienna feels like it really pales in comparison to the former as a love ballad. This one just feels a little more cliched, talking about a complex relationship and comparing it to, it feels like each person is talking in a different language to the other, so they can't truly understand what each other are going through. I feel like I've heard this subject done several times and probably done better in other instances, so this one definitely doesn't work as well for me as I would want it to. And Talking to Myself is honestly just one that I feel is maybe a little bit dull in places. I see what it's going for, and it probably is the closest to bringing back the bigger 80s pop influences that the title track has, but it doesn't work as well as the title track did in terms of channeling those influences, I think. Overall, though, I think this is another slam dunk for Nothing But Thieves. I appreciate the taking risks route that they take here. They maybe swing even more for the fences than they did on Moral Panic, and I think the results pay off in dividends for the most part. I mean, the title track itself is a song that I have come back to a lot, and will see myself coming back to even more because of its addicting nature. I think Overcome does a great job at feeling like a distinctly Nothing But Thieves song, but still feeling like it very much so fits within the identity of this album. And Do You Love Me Yet is just a song that impresses me every time I go back to it, with the journey that it takes you through and just how endlessly creative it is in terms of utilizing those 80s influences and just super fun guitar riff. There's so many great highlights on this album, and I think it shows that the band is one that is going to be willing to continue to take risks and not ever paint themselves into a corner. I like them doing new things, and I think it works for them more often than not. This is a great album, easily one of my favorites of the year, and it shows Nothing But Thieves as one of the probably best mainstream rock artists to do it, and other mainstream rock bands should be looking to them for an example of how to change your sound and how to do it right. Strong 4 out of 5 stars for me. So yeah, that ends this Nothing But Thieves review. What did you think of Dead Club City? Let me know in the comments down below. I think this is a great album, and you should definitely check it out if you haven't. And once again, my name is James, and I do reviews of both music and movies, along with the occasional commentary piece. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, then I'd appreciate it if you left this video a like and subscribe to my channel to see more content like that. But until then, I will see you all in the next video.